Hi everyone, it's Tiffany here, and first of all I wanted to say thank you to Meg at Meg Journals for inviting me to be a part of Junk Journal January this year. I'm super excited to be a part of it, and my word for today, I believe it is the 9th of January, is hidden. So I chose the word hidden because it was intriguing to me, and I thought there's all sorts of ways that I like to hide things in my journals. So just kind of for inspiration and to try and figure out what I wanted to do, I've been looking through my journals to find ways that I have hidden various things. A lot of times it's writing, so I've used little flaps just to, I mean, there's no reason for me to hide that, but I thought that was kind of fun. And little notes I've hidden just with a piece of paper that's taped on. I don't think there's much else hidden in this one. I really wanted to find oh, there's some really nice stuff in here though. I don't look back at my journals often enough. I don't know about you guys, but it's been a long time since I've looked through some of these. I do like the hidden aspect of kind of translucent papers. I think I do that more in this one. This was my the very first 100-day project I'd ever done, which was a couple years ago. And oh, is this a hidden thing? No. I used to use fabric to hide pages a lot. This is a cool one where it's not completely hidden, but it's like a little translucent window. That's kind of fun, and I love this sound. So I think I need to do something like that. But the fabric pages are intriguing too. Oh, here's another one. So crinkly. So, I mean, there's always pockets that are great for hidden. Here's a fabric pocket. Oh, here's some more crinkly. That's just tracing paper, or yeah, I think that's vellum or something like that. So, is this one? No. Oh, it's so close. This one was, I thought there was something hidden in here, but nope. Okay. Here's another crinkly page. Where's the other part of that crinkly page? There. There should be 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, here it is. 4. Okay. So that's what I'm gonna need to do, is something crinkly. I can already tell this enormous chunky journal was my 100-day project journal this past year, and it got so big, but oh, here's a belly band that you could use to hide things. I hear paper crinkling in there. Yeah, I'm just looking for something specific. There's so many little focal points and stuff from my website shop. Used as focal points there. Oh, so here's like a card that I've used, just paper clipped on to hide journaling behind that. Little pocket, a vellum or tracing paper pocket to somewhat hide. That's cool, nice and crinkly. Okay. Oh, here's a little pocket out of that same thing. Lots of these, what are they called? They're from Fodder School. Can't remember what they were called. Megan Quinlan did a lesson on these ones. Some sort of cluster. Assemblages is what these are called. I had to look that up. That was driving me nuts. So a ton of assemblages, and oh, this was from the very first Fodder Challenge, 2021, I believe. Okay, that's fun. I could spend hours looking through those, but I think I'm ready to make something. I'm gonna make something in this journal. I just made this one, and I make this type of journal with painted canvas, and I've never seen this kind of closure. I think I came up with it, but it's a fabric closure on the back of this with the button attached here, so that when I'm working on the inside pages, it can just lay nice and flat without having a big bump here where the button is. So that's what I like about making my journals this way. I made this a while ago it was a part of a Fodder School project, and I just made this separately, and I was going to attach it to the journal I was making. Maybe that journal has some of these fabric covers, but I didn't end up using this piece, but I kept it here because this is such a good, I'm looking for a sturdy page. This is such a good thing to attach. I could sew it or glue to another page that's kind of sturdy, and then this could open to have some hidden writing, or I could tuck something under there. So that's what I was looking for. I didn't find it. So that wouldn't be too hard to make. I wonder if I could do a couple tutorials. We'll see how long it goes. We'll see how much talking I do. So that's an option. I'll just put this here. It's not too tough to do. I bet you could figure it out without a tutorial, but we'll see. And I gathered this is just wax paper that I've been using. They're scraps of wax paper, and they were functional to keep, you know, my pages from sticking together, or put behind a piece of paper as I work to keep the glue from getting on my pages. But I think I'm going to cut this to size and use it because I really just love that crinkly sound. So I'm just trying to size this up here a little bit. I mean, you can tell I don't work very precisely. I use what I have in whatever form I find it. Maybe I can tear this without ruining it. We'll see. Yep, that's good. That's pretty good. And the crinkle is there, so I'm going to try to maybe do some collage on top of this and preserve the crinkle. All right, I'll be right back with some little bits of collage paper. All right, I realized after I made this video that some of you aren't going to have this nice collection of collage fodder that's left over from other projects, or maybe you haven't made any just to have on hand. So I'm going to give you some ideas of some things, some papers and things that you can use that you might have around, because I want you to be able to do this project even if you don't have this. You know, this is really nice to have, but if you don't have this yet, here's some things that you can use instead. These are just small bits of tissue paper that is used for gift wrap. And I don't know why they're so small, but I've cut some down. And I love using this. So tissue paper, again, because I'm looking for some thinner, crinkly things for this particular project. And also sewing paper. I found this one too that has blue writing. That's kind of fun. So that would be fun to use. Have some, this is Korean writing on some rice paper. I think this was gifted to me. If you have anything like this, that's fun to use. Napkins. Yeah, I think you could use a napkin. It's very thin and delicate, but you could maybe, if you were careful, use this. Some other tissue papers from packaging. This, I ordered something and got that. This is from a pair of Doc Martens. You know, the shoes were wrapped in some really cool tissue paper. This is just packing paper from, you know, just what they use in the mail. I tend to just kind of flatten it out, press it, and I have a bunch of that on hand, and then just regular old tissue paper. I like to label some of the tissue papers just so I know what I'm working with. This isn't like deli paper or wet strength tissue paper, so I know I have to be a little bit more careful with this. But, you know, something you can do with just plain white tissue paper or anything. You could even take some freezer paper or wax paper, or what's it called? Parchment paper. I have parchment paper that's brown. That would be fun to use. So I'm going to show you what you can do with just plain tissue paper and some crayons. And you can use anything that makes marks. You can use crayons, or you can use, use all your art tools that you've collected that you never use. Also, I'm looking for black, but I'm sure it's not here, of course, because I use it. So you can just go and make a bunch of marks. And this is fun to do too, is just make marks while you're watching TV or listening to an audiobook. I mean, when I start this, I don't know what it is about making collage fodder like this and just making marks. I have a really hard time stopping. It's like my body just wants to do this, and it just kind of needs to do this. If you're like me, you can get a little bit carried away. It's hard to stop, and also if you don't want to fill up the whole thing, you gotta put a limit on it, which I don't, but that's fun to do. Do a couple of different, I mean, this is all you would need. Look, my piece of paper I used was about that size, so You only need a very small piece of that combined with some of the darker colors. I do suggest getting different range of colors, you know, different tones. You'd want something like that combined with some of this tan lighter color. And that's about it. You wouldn't need much more. Just look around you, see what you have. Use some of those like candy wrappers or foil, or you can even use scrapbook paper, textbook paper, anything like that. I'm encouraging people to use things that are on the thinner side, use papers. So I'm just looking around and seeing, oh, I do have, like literally right next to me, I have all this stuff. Here's the parchment paper I was talking about. Look, it's already marked on because I've been using it to prevent paint from getting on other things. So I could cut a square out of there. Oh yeah, this side's pretty. Let's cut this, there you go. I should make something out of that. It's a nice piece right here too. But yeah, any of this stuff will work. So don't feel like if you don't have a nice little basket of fodder that you can't do this. You definitely can. Okay, I've gathered my scraps into this small basket, and it's scraps that I've collected over the past year or more from different projects. So they're just kind of random, and I'm going through this just to find some thinner papers, things that kind of go together, but I'm looking for some lighter colors, darker colors, and some that are in the mid-tones as well. And most importantly, just thin tissue paper, that kind of stuff for now, because that's just what I'm looking for this project. I always like to start with some neutrals. So I gotta sort. Oh, that's cool. Let's see what I have here. It's always nice to have some darks. This is a lot of raised paint. I think that's too thick. Do like this. So I'm just gonna start tearing, and you know what I should have done? I should have started with a bigger piece of paper. Why did I cut this down? Yeah, oh well. Or we'll just work with this. I like to sometimes start really big and then cut it down to size. Well, I wasn't thinking ahead. Just gonna lay stuff out randomly. I don't know, this is almost a little too thick. I want to use it so bad. Here, maybe, yeah, these are a little too thick. And that's the same thing. I'll use this as an accent. It's going to come in later on. These two. I kind of like that one. You thought I was going to pick this piece, didn't you? I kind of like this, how it just goes off into nowhere. And I think this would be fun, just kind of to leave, maybe have it go under like that. If I put glue here, it's gonna be very see-through. So I might do that when I'm ready to glue this down. That would be cool underneath too. Like that. Then the dark. I think this was some deli paper, and this is, I don't know what I did. It's got kind of a raised surface, paint or gesso or something. Okay, I'm just gonna glue this down like this for now. Looks a little haphazard, a little crazy, but I'm liking how the colors are working together. This is that piece of vellum, and I know it's not gonna stick permanently with this glue, but I'm sewing it. Let me glue this one. I'm just putting a little bit of glue right into the middle of the paper to get it to stick, and then I'm gonna go over it with my sewing machine, which some people will recommend not doing that to your sewing machine, but I'm okay with it. I've done this. I've put my sewing machine through a lot, and it does pretty well. So until it stops working, I'm just gonna keep kind of pushing it to the limit. Okay, so this one, I wanted to try and see if I can get it to become a little more see-through. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the glue on as much of this as I can, especially all the see-through parts. I'm not getting it to the edges though. I'm okay if the edges don't get glued on completely. There, I don't know if that makes any difference on the camera, but now you can see through this really well. And that guy is just not gonna stick, and that's okay. I think it's in the wrong place. Was this where I had it? I think it might have been like, oh well, it's close. And this is kind of cool. Okay, I'm gonna sew this, and I'm going to just sew this with my sewing machine. I'm looking right now and I have some embroidery thread in there, but I've used anything, like just regular old thread, regular needle. Sometimes I have a heavy duty needle, like for sewing through thicker quilts and that kind of stuff. So I'm just gonna make sure that I have more of a needle for lightweight fabric, but nothing else special. And oh, the one thing that you want to do is make sure that your stitch length, if you're doing this on a sewing machine, make sure that your stitch length is set to, you know, pretty far apart. I just choose the furthest apart stitch length. It's like 4.5 or 5. I don't know what that means. Maybe 5 stitches per inch. Sounds about right. So don't use the teeny tiny, you know, spacing on your stitches, or else you'll just rip a hole through whatever paper you're stitching. So I'll be right back. Okay, I've gotten this all sewn up on the sewing machine. For some reason, My sewing machine, I think because this wax paper is so slippery, the feed dogs didn't grip it very well on a part of it, and it got like, okay, it did this where the stitches were really close together, but I realized what was happening, and then I just kind of helped it through there. So just go slow. If you're using this type of slippery paper underneath there, and help your sewing machine out. You can see that I didn't go through everything. I didn't get all the corners and that kind of stuff. I kind of like, you know, the more I play around and touch this, the more the corners are gonna start sticking up and things. And I prefer that. I like that. And some of the corners even got folded over and then stitched down. That happens a lot too, and I don't mind that at all. I've got bits of thread hanging off. I've got some really long bits that I'm gonna maybe cut. It's a little, that's a little long. I did switch out my thread and use like this contrasting color just to go around this, because I wanted kind of a focal point there. My machine has some special stitches that I just can't help but to use. I added some of these little stars at the end. Yeah, but otherwise I just kind of went all over just to make sure everything was kind of stitched down. And I think it looks cute. It still has a nice, you know, crinkly sound a little bit. It feels really nice. It's like not stiff, you know? So I can attach this onto my page and then it'll flip up really nicely, just like if it were fabric, which is what I wanted to get, is that kind of the crinkly sound and kind of a softer feel. Now, attaching it to one of the pages, gotta find a sturdy page. This would be nice on there. But it would be good if I had a blank page so I could do some writing. Ooh, that's vintage wallpaper. That's nice and sturdy. And that would be fun to write on. So that's an option. It's a little, there's a lot going on this side, so I don't know. This is a file folder. It's a really old file folder that I got from my husband's office. They've been using these from the 60s. And I just love it. I love that vintage file folder, the color of it, the feel of it. You just can't buy them like this. And I don't know what that is, but now I kind of like that. So that's an option. Yeah, I do like to just try out every possibility before I commit. Oh, here's a watercolor paper. So that's a really good one too. Sturdy. However, that doesn't go very well. Well, this would be fun. It's got some lines and some blank space for writing. I kind of like that. It looks like somebody did do some writing here. Yep, I think it's gonna go right here. So this would be a great place for some journaling or something, or I can tuck stuff in. Okay, now attaching this. I'm just going to shove this through my sewing machine as far as I can. And, you know, it's not gonna go all the way to the end. Maybe I'll have this sticking out a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't stick out too far. I kind of like the edges to be all uneven and raggedy. So I'll see how far I can stick this into my sewing machine and come back and show you what I've been able to do. If that doesn't work, or if you don't have a sewing machine, you can always just glue this down or staple it, or just use a paper clip. You know, it doesn't have to be permanently attached. So, all right, I'll be back. Okay, I got it all stitched in. I'll show you the back. You can see the stitches better there. I just used a zigzag, a long zigzag with a short width, and staying in pretty well. Crinkle is still there. I can flip it up, do some writing, flip it down. I like how that turned out. It's kind of fun. It's very tactile. Tactile? It's very tactile. I love it. So if you don't have a sewing machine to stitch this all over, I recommend getting a good permanent glue like Fabri-Tac or 3-in-1 glue, that kind of stuff, or like a permanent, you know what would work is a tape runner, a permanent tape runner for this wax paper. Or you can do some hand stitching. So like I did here, I just do hand stitching, you know, just do a running stitch going in this direction and then some going in that direction. That would be really cute to see on here too. Or you don't have to do any of that if you use something other than wax paper here. And a lot of times I use tracing paper. You just have to be a little bit more careful with tracing paper. You might not want to stitch all over if it was tracing paper, but it would be perfect for if you wanted to just glue everything down. So I'm not going to show you how to do this today. It's not tough to do. They're just fabric scraps, and again, they're fabric fodder that we made in fodder school. It's dyed, hand marked, and all that, and there's only 3 pieces there with some stitching, so it's not tough to do, but maybe I'll do this in a different video some other time. But this video's gotten a little long, so I think I'll stop here, but I wanted to thank you for watching and for joining us in Junk Journal January. There's a link at the bottom that will take you to the other videos for this month, and just wanted to thank Meg again for inviting me along this year. It's been a lot of fun. So I hope you guys are having fun, and I'd love to see what you make. I am on Instagram the most, and I am at Tiffany Simply Sharp there. And if you tag me, I can see what you create, and I would love to see what you create. All right, thank you. Bye.